Hey Twitch, hope you're doing well today. Anyway, today it's time to continue the playlist of creating the universe of scratch. We're skipping ahead a lot to go to the sadly traumatic part, which is like an epic schizophrenic adventure, which is basically creating a universe from the point there's a human on the ground, but we don't have heat and water yet. Our goal with this story is to at least get to the point to where I made heat and water work, and what I will spoil is a weirdly organic monster house. We have to get to that point with a bunch of abuse and a bunch of schizophrenic bullshit. We just now begin the story from how it truly began. First, we began with the influencer why I made the story. It's simple. There was an article that was like so Assassin's Creed with like you can influence the past if you give them good enough ideas or something. People got really excited about it on the internet. So did I illegally as a psychologist and sociologist of America, an amateur one. Because I realized I could influence the past and instill my morality in the answers if I just like taught them how to do the beginning of the universe. And so, we are now going to discuss how I did the beginning of the universe after that. It begins, sadly, with such bullshit that you're going to be like, was this on YouTube at one point? Maybe. We might have done this in real life at one point. I'm not sure. There's like enough evidence of this story in my head with images. There's like, at the start of the story, it was in modern day, and then a thing happens. Or like, I don't know, did we time travel, or did I just end up in the pocket universe I knew would happen? You decide. I honestly might be the pocket universe. We did enough to cope. All right. So it all starts with just punching the shit out of stuff in my hotel room, because I realized that to create the beginning of the universe, you only have your body and the blood in your hands, so in your body stuff. So it was just punching the shit out of my surroundings and myself for a while, and also smashing my hand with a rock. That's right, it was that much of a brutalist chemist or abuse chemist scenario, which I know my bots will be like, don't do that, that's suicidal. We did it to create the universe, so it's based. Yeah, it's really based. Anyway, so the reason it would work in that room is because it's similar to this shelf right here, except it was like a bit lamer actually. We didn't have the flowers in the hotel room. Literally, that was like it. Otherwise, we had enough color dyes because of the walls and the carpet. There was multiple colors on the floor. There was like good walls. I had my mom's makeup supply and some food. It was good enough to create the universe to me, especially if I just went outside and punched other people and things like the grass. And so with that, the abuse saga of punching everything and mixing it with my blood, letting it seep into my hand a bit, and then punching more stuff began for a long abusive time. Until eventually we made our first ultimate weapon, which was the mental hospital door. Which basically, the mental hospital door is not really that. It's really mean, actually. It's more like an infinite doors glitch of sadness. Which just like, it's like once it pops off, you have to do like a decent amount of abuse in the room, like rape someone or something a few times. It's not even just once. You have to like do like a lot of bullshit to fucking trigger it. Even just like shoot a gun like 10 times at least. It's like, once it triggers, first of all, infinite doors happens. Infinite doors, it just stretches out really hard and far. And eventually it starts creating pocket universes between each other. Which we will spoil. The best way to solve it is to try not to abuse anything and just run through it, because it ends up being a PT hallway eventually. Hey, hope you're doing well, Barwan Swag. As you can see, we're in the middle of the start of the trauma arc. We're talking about the. I'm doing decent. We are discussing this idea of brutalist chemistry I have in my head, because basically it's I will explain the concept again. Brutalist chemistry is essentially abusing yourself to create chemistry. Now, why I created this concept is basically because in this little story that we're doing, it's about creating a universe from scratch when you don't even have heat or water on a regular basis. This is based on being cavemen trying to do chemistry, right? And with that idea in mind, we have to abuse ourselves by punching stuff and mixing stuff with our blood. And now we're gonna go back to where we were in the story, where I talk about how we had the infinite door glitch of epic sadness, which we'll briefly explain again was the combination of doing so much abuse chemistry on that door that there was like layers upon layers of like all the elements beaten into that door. Which with that in mind, it becomes an infinite door glitch. It just replicates doors and creates little pocket dimensions that basically become a weird PT hallway, which I'll again state, your goal to avoid being stuck in there forever is to run through the doors really fast, like a real PT hallway, not punch anyone. Because the more abuse you do in the infinite doors glitch of sadness, the worse it gets. You end up being there longer and longer, very long, to where you basically end up in the start of your own little universe if you fuck up too hard. Pretty much, got something like that. It's like, actually, that's how the story works, because like part of the story involves the fact I started in the I'm starting here in the modern day, and then we fuck up really hard because the infinite door glitch happens. Because not gonna lie, if it triggers when you're in a room, it basically works on everyone in the fucking room. Everyone ends up in a pocket universe that's in the room when the door triggers. It's not a meme. You have to be really lucky not to get stuck in the pocket universe of somewhere, the infinite hallways of PT. Anyway, so we then trigger the door. Why? I was mad at people. We go to Schizo Vigilante Land, where I was mad at the weed store next door because they were being bad drug dealers and trying to rob me. So I put down the infinite mental hospital door in there. We talk shit. We fight a bit. The doors trigger after enough abuse between each other. Then we're all in pocket universes. Everyone probably came back. I saw them again. If it was real, that part probably isn't too real. That might have been an epic fucked up dream we had. Anyway, but we continue with the dream because it ends up being a really cool story, and we learn a decent amount of bullshit from it, at least in my head. Is it real? I don't know, but it's enough to pout. Anyway, so after the fist fight in the weed store, we end up in the Infinite Doors Glitch Society of Sadness. We're at the start of our own universe. Surprisingly, it's just like a rainforest for me. We end up fucking up a bit soft and hard because, not gonna lie, I was still trying to influence the ancestors because I realized that we could as I mentioned this at the start, I'll mention it again since we got a viewer. There was an article that came out around the time I did this idea in my head, where like you can influence the ancestors if you just have a good enough idea of how to solve stuff. And I wanted to instill my morality from the very beginning of Space and Time. So that's why we made this story, to like influence the ancestors from the beginning of Space and Time. Like up to the point to where like we're gonna create a regular supply of water and heat. That was gonna be really sad. I will spoil the heat source because it's funny. The first regular heat source we get is actually a meme that happened on the internet. It's like, we might have stolen that meme for trauma points because basically there was like a meme about a microwave that worked by stretching out a dead baby's skin that would come to life as you cook the food. I end up creating that microwave at some point for heat. And anyway, back to where we're at in the story. Alright, so we're in the beginning of Space and Time. We're in the rainforest, and it gets annoying. We actually lose at the start. It's not a meme. Turns out there's already another person, which is an abusive rapist. And he basically turns me into a chemistry table. Oh no! Now I'm the abuse table instead of punching things everywhere else. Yup, I was a chemistry table for this fellow abuse chemist. Who just fucking, basically I'm just like I'm just a rape toy, which he abuses for chemistry and stuff. So hard that like I end up taking different forms. And the first form we change into is like basically a tree, but made with boobs that are purple. It's a purple boob tree. It's a purple boob tree. I was a purple boob tree that could shoot laser beams for some reason. They weren't very good laser beams, but we could shoot laser beams. Vibe with that. I know that's weird. Alright, and then at that point, it honestly escalates into an abusive relationship of love and hate, because I'm bored to admit that. At that point, we do ultimate altruism to create the universe. Ultimate altruism means I was already in the game to fucking do abuse chemistry to create the universe. So we were just there being like, he's trying to do stuff to save society, somewhat. He's still a rapist, so actually he's a dick, and I get mad at him eventually, even though there's like love and hate with him. Mainly because he's the only other person in that fucking world that was smart. And he was very smart and could have good conversations, even though he was a rapist. So, like, it was kind of like a Stockholm syndrome with a man that was, like, chill and could be cool, but he was still a rapist. It was annoying. So anyway, we're there, and at last I start fighting back because I'm in a humanoid form again, and I was just, like, bored of it because I realized there was enough abuse. He was being a dick. He wasn't trying to be based anymore. He got bored and stopped trying to be based. So then we start rebelling to an extent. I started trying to create the universe for real, which starts a pattern, which is basically where, like, I'm nice enough to him, where I tell him that he can avoid abuse if he manages to avoid me and run away, which is actually very easy because for some reason he straight up claims he can run 100 miles per hour, and it's true enough in the role play to where we do a meme. Basically, I tell him that he can get all the chemistry I need in the world if he just runs away and sweats. So basically it becomes a combo of, like, he has to avoid me to not get abused himself now. Oh, wait a second. There's a loud truck. Anyway, basically the combo to, like, avoid getting abused by me to help create the universe is that he has to run away really hard and sweat because he already has so many elements in his body. If we just get him to sweat really hard while he runs away, most of the chemistry should get in the air that I need, and then I just run across plants that I need to do my chemistry. So basically, because I'm nice to him, and he's very fast, because for some reason he claims he can run 100 miles per hour, and that's true. We fucking run around doing shit. I'm, like, autistically focused on creating the universe and making shit work, and he just runs around all day. He's like a dick. He's actually pretty much a loser from that point on. He's just, well, not to an extent, he's a loser. He's, like, still, like the second most based person on the abuse server, basically, even though he's a rapist. But, like, it's like, it's just like, he just runs off, because surprisingly, he's, like, one of the only people that are smart enough to avoid abuse all day, because he's that fast. And it gets to the point to where even he has, like, houses to chill at, because I'm nice enough at points to where, like, I'm creating houses. Like, I'm literally creating the universe so hard that I'm creating houses with the goal for water and heat. We actually manage it through enough abuse chemistry, which when we get to the point where we have a house, it's actually kind of based, because we could have almost calmed down, but then they got autistic. Why? The noises were really fucking annoying. First of all, we go back to the baby microwave. The baby microwave was annoying because it screamed like a dying baby the whole time when you microwaved food. The only benefit was that, surprisingly, if you were willing to go through the screaming dead baby for 30 minutes, you would get a full plate of 30 tacos. I know, it's really weird and funny. You get, like, you're willing to deal with the autistic screaming baby. That's it. That's your microwave for 30 minutes. You'll get a plate of tacos in there. It's not even, it just spawns in the microwave part. It's not even the part where the dead baby's unrolling to make the microwave work. You get a plate of tacos. But it's really annoying because it's just a baby screaming for 30 minutes and such great agony. You just know it's realistic that it's alive in the microwave. Getting stretched apart to heat the microwave and make you cook your food. Alright. So we rock with that. Alright, so basically, and the water was annoying too, because basically it would screech whenever I created water, because it was like, kind of like an organic tube that would just autistically screech like a metal pipe, getting like I don't know, like scratched on by like nails all day. That was like so loud it was annoying. So basically my goal from there was to try to normalize the house that people would live in it while we did more things, just create more stuff for fun in like epic sad ways, which will now go to the next part of sadness, where like we were on board of having to abuse myself all day because I just like, some of it was I needed to get deeper cuts into my body, right? So we end up running into like an interesting house that is like just basically an eldritch murder house, right? The rapist is back for that one. He's actually being chill to a major extent because he wants that shit solved. We mostly solve it, but we leave one weird room. It's like a weird self-torture room where basically there's these plants that have like these little like glowing organs on them and stuff or whatever. They glow. They're like purple with glowing yellow, right? And they're like shaped like blades of tendrils, like they're like carnage plants, like carnage symbiote, but as a plant. Alright, and I just like realized that's a good self-abuse chamber. So at that point for self-abuse chemistry, we would just stand in the room and get cut up and stabbed by that thing. And we were in it for so long that at one point it just basically becomes a stand. Or sometimes we're like, if my character in the story needs to do chemistry, the fucking self-abuse eldritch tentacles and stuff will spawn around me to basically kill everything around me, including myself. When it's just like, I don't know, it's like a bit random. It's mainly when I'm mad. It's like such a stand, it's just when I'm mad at everyone to fucking trigger the eldritch tentacles of epic bullshit. Let's see, what else? And then, well, from there, we basically just about have like the basics covered. We have heat and water. So that's basically, is there anything else I need to talk about that story? It's like really long, actually. It's like, fuck, am I already at the end of this tale? Fuck, I was like, we got the heat and water. I feel like there's a lot more. Actually, it's just, okay, actually we can, okay, yeah, there's actually another thing that happens. I actually forgot to mention this. There's like a pattern that happens where eventually I start having clones or like weird creatures spawn for myself, which I just basically call fellow chemists, which are on automatic over bullshit where they even have my patterns. We will talk about the main one, which is like basically a weird pink tentacle thing. It has like, its face is just like a simple like ink. It's like the Walmart smiley face on a pink circle, and the rest of it's like a bunch of weird like oozy pink tentacles and shit with like a torso. That thing, it basically becomes the main autochemist of abuse for that society, because at that point we leave and go back to the modern world, while that thing is just in the beginning of space and time, wherever that was, fucking just abusing everything and creating the universe for them. Which then, after that, I don't know, religion happens. Because freaking, basically what happens next is that, so we get back into modern day, right? We're back into modern day in this story. We're doing the infinite doors glitch again because I'm mad at my society, my modern society, for being too abusive. In the story, I'm just mad at them, so we're just like, this is like something like, they wanted to legalize rape, and I'm like, no. So I throw the infinite door mental hospital glitch in places, and we all get trapped this time with a bunch of Christians, which just basically creates a dumb Christian society of madness, because then we're stuck in pocket universes dealing with bullshit, which basically creates the real mental hospital scenario, where basically the more they get abused, the more they get trapped. Like, honestly, a near perfect home, except it's the monster house of sadness. Now, the monster house of sadness basically ends up with enough abuse and me perfecting it for them to basically groom them into being good citizens. Is that they get like an organic computer connected to YouTube, and the heated water and a bed and walls in a house. Yeah, I know, that's weird. It ends up being called a world that, it becomes weird at this point, where basically it starts becoming separate in my mind from the beginning of space and time to a world of reality, which it becomes a weird meme in what we call Constance's head from Hardcore Leveling War. Now, why are we saying Constance from Hardcore Leveling War? It's because basically Constance is like the ultimate liar, and it becomes a thing where, like, more and more when this story becomes too real in my head, I'm basically questioning if I'm in real reality, because, like, it becomes, first of all, the constant world of denial is like, this perfect society does not actually exist. The main glitch between this world and the modern world is that everything is actually still organic. Nothing is actually inorganic in the real world that we call purity or something. It's like the Purist world, because basically it's just acknowledging everything that should be real too hard on such a level that, like, everything's organic, like these plants. Nothing is inorganic, which gets annoying because basically there is like a side in this story where all the time I'm like, you're still doing epic bullshit amounts of chemistry in the other world. And it's just like you are in two different mindsets. It's like, this is like this world we're in right now becomes in this story the chill out server, where basically it's a big old denial where, like, the internet's real, everything's real, we have a nice comfortable 21st society, while the pure society in the back of my head is like, it's not real. You're still running around chasing people and abusing them to create more monster houses and stuff. everything screeches autistically when you try to turn it on, especially the microwave or the water pipes. And there are still people in the Purist Society just living there because they're honestly just obsessed with the realism. And they don't want to live in what we call the conscious world denial, where we don't have stuff like the dead baby microwave. Because that's all that works. It's like the Purist world just admits everything's still a dead baby microwave and stuff. That's just it. It becomes like a big delusion fest where, like, even though I'm like a god tier auto chemist and I wrote clones and shit, it's like his master lives in the denial land. The master of the chemist army of abuse in that world lives in the conscious world denial, which is this world. And the Purist world is still so real that, like, it's just around. It's like weird. It's just like I still check on it once in a while, barely. It's like it isn't popping off. It's just like I'm just seeing scary faces of people being like, "You're about to get abused," as they fucked up, they got caught, or something. Yeah. So basically, it's like pretty fucking. It's a weird dichotomy with that story at that point, because it's like everything becomes a weird constant world denial in my head, where, like, I'm just like questioning if I'm still there sometimes, if it seems real. So is there anything else worth mentioning? I'm thinking. Okay, well, I should explain how the conscious world denial works. The conscious world denial is basically a psychic level of denial that can be in shorthand described as like, it's like Xanarkin from Final Fantasy X. It's like a big fucking alternate reality. We live in autistically in denial so hard we have the 21st century and not that purist caveman society where everything's still organic and shit. We're lucky to get the microwave. Yeah, it just like, it mainly works with the zeta wave in our brain and everyone being linked to where we're like in a big zeta psychic game board, which is the human world. Let's see. Anything else worth mentioning? At this point, the story gets funny and weird because basically it becomes fucking it starts warping around me to an extent to where, like, it feels like a Machina the Control Devil meme. Because for a brief mention of that, there's like a story in my head about Machina the Control Devil where she controls everything on a subconscious level in that world of Chainsaw Man. Machine's from Chainsaw Man, by the way. And she controls it on a psychic level really soft and hard, but it's not as well controlled as you think, because sometimes the world abuses her in such stupid ways that it's like a story to her that shouldn't be real, unless she imagines herself as like a storyteller that's just abusing herself for fun, because she's bored. Everyone's bored to do a story. Alright. And so basically going back in between the realities is like, people start showing up in my world that are purists that are mad. Because the purists that get trapped in the infinite door glitch of mental hospital sadness are mad to abuse the conscious world of denial to show up in this world to beat me up because they're mad they're trapped in a pocket dimension. Which they do a lot. So it's hot. Because a hot goth chick abuses me too because she's mad. We barely get along. Lots of sex though. Abusive sex. Yeah. Anyway, because a funny meme, which I will briefly touch on that. So it's a funny meme where with abusive sex you can create all the elements in this story. It's really funny. It's like in the middle, it's just like, it's like, if I remember right, regular consensual sex works really well to create all the middle elements on the periodic table. Everything to the left is where I abused a woman to create the chemistry, and to the right is where they abuse me, and it's just like, that's it. That's how we create the universe of abusive sex. It's just like the pattern to create all the elements. So we create all the elements in that room for a while because we're bored. Yeah, alright. And I know, from there, the ultimate plotline in the story basically becomes a big old montage of what if I was real or God was real, and he just wanted to prove it really hard with a funny montage, which is so schizo. It's like, if God was real that day, he was very bored. That finally abused the world so hard, he was just like turning everyone into fucking his personal actors and shit. It's just basically a long montage of like it comes down to like it's just a bunch of bullshit. I don't even want to touch on it now. It's like I think we might keep that personal. That's like such a weird montage. Or basically we'll just summarize it that God comes down to like being very much like a Hollywood God in my head. Like he's like very much more follows the morality of Hollywood movies to the point he's like very dramatic with Hollywood. Oh, and there's like, actually we'll start the story for it. It also starts with this weird meme where we're like in a hidden society in my head. It's part of it's like I'm trying to like we're like in the real world of conscious denial, and it's where I'm like trying to solve a plot line of like what the fuck my life is like. It's like annoying to me. People start like talking shit in weird ways about how like there's like a Hollywood meritocracy I could be part of, and it's like when I vibe with a Hollywood meritocracy, it's more and more it's like supposed to reflect the actor's beliefs and shit or whatever. And it's like such a dumb pattern where it starts first of all with the game that you were the best at or that was like important to your high school, and then it's like they do like the best tactic from that game to fuck with you the whole time. I'm like, fuck, it was Town of Salem, which, as you guys know, the best rule in Town of Salem is don't talk, don't acknowledge shit, always lie, don't tell people your role and stuff. So then it becomes a big dick down society if there's like I have to guess what's going on because no one talks, and people are just supposed to show up and just at best give me shit. And it's an Amish society too because they don't give me drugs, they just give me food and home and stuff. No drugs though, no drugs. And so from there it escalates to basically it reveals it's not a meme. As I said, the Hollywood meritocracy becomes really real from a funny pattern. It starts first of all with surprisingly this is gonna be really mean for like everyone just remember this was a schizo dream or something when I described this point, but it's really funny. It starts with surprisingly people I'm arguing with the hotel manager I'm staying at in this story. And fucking he's like, they're trying to kick me out. I'm trying to say I have a few more days. And we're all schizo enough to where surprisingly they fuck up enough to where the hotel manager could get sent to a mental hospital on the spot. But for some reason the person trying to send him to the mental hospital is Seth Rogen. And I'm like, what? Seth Rogen? And the story is just like, Seth Rogen has an abusive sex addict mental hospital. I know that's rude to Seth Rogen if that's real or not real. I mean, if it's not real. So just to go with the story. So Seth Rogen's bored to him, and he's like, I actually had studied enough to know that there's gonna be an autism that happens if the woman's like does it. It's like a funny meme to avoid the mental hospitals. First of all, they have to run around in something like this position, with their arms stretched out, like fucking with their tongue out and stuff, and just like running in circles around the parking lot, like 3 times. Then you have to suck Seth Rogen's dick to avoid the mental hospital. And then then God's music video montage happens to prove he's like fucking a Hollywood god when he's bored. And that is basically from there. The last part of the story is that Makima the Control Devil got bored to finally abuse her society back after all that, because she was like everything calmed down to an extent, but we were mad still about some things because there was just crime. There was still a lot of people autistically trying to do crimes so hard that in the story the cops weren't real again. In the conscious world now, which is like great. My conscious world of denial is so abusive, the cops aren't real. I'm supposed to have that in my conscious world of denial. And so then the story escalates to where we basically decide to do a bunch of bullshit because we think people are dumb. We think they're such dumb mates, we just walk around proving they're dumb mates. Like first of all, we just prove they're going to try to kill people if I just leave anything around that's weird, like a knife or something that could become a bomb. So we just start leaving the ingredients to kill people in people's houses because I want to prove they'll kill someone if I just leave a weapon around. Or something that they can use to rape someone. And then I also do other things, which is basically just chemical blackmail. Which my favorite ones are, first of all, there are the meth rocks of sadness. Where basically, like, if a rape happens at, like, the library, a meth cloud will be born that's so powerful the town gets methed up and they can't sleep at night. That's the first chemical blackmail. And the second one's really epic and fucked up. Because basically my vibe in the story keeps telling me you bloodlock the planet's sun in place to where the sun is always locked on wherever you get paralyzed at. Because, like, I was mad at rapists paralyzing me a lot in the story. Because it gets to the point I'm like, people are like paralyzing me a lot and raping me while I'm paralyzed. And so it's like, at that point, I learned a chemistry combo, which is literally just like putting a bunch of trash on what I call a shelf, which is really just like a bunch of dirt by a bridge. That's like where a railroad track goes over it. And fucking, it's not whatever. It's like a place like that. Anyway, I put a bunch of trash there. And like, if I get paralyzed by there now anywhere in the city, if the story's real, which it probably isn't, because you would have heard about this. Okay, the sun gets polarly locked to my blood, to where like if the sun time stops moving to an extent, because the story says that like the time is measured by where the sun is at in the story, and not like by just moving the clock forward, because they're dumb. And they refuse to keep moving the time forward, even though fucking time's frozen, because they're dumbass dicks. And so there's memes in my head where it's like, you were paralyzed for 3 years while the sun was locked in place on your hometown Danville. And it's like, great. You guys suck that hard, apparently, to my story. To where I bloodlocked the planet's sun to my position while I was paralyzed and getting molested and stuff while paralyzed on the street. And we're at the 30-minute mark, so I'm going to end the story here because I'm running out of steam. That wasn't even a really consistent story in the path, at least. We jumped around a lot after the 15-minute mark, guys. I'm not going to lie. That was a lot of jumping around. That was barely a straight line. There was like a lot of jumping around. We're going to end it here, guys. We will probably, we'll revisit this eventually. Probably once I get charged up a bit more on it, if I even think of anything more, because I'm not going to lie. We reviewed all the major events of the story. Besides, honestly, the abusive saga that is becoming a bunch of weird forms. We reviewed all the major stuff of this story besides like the pattern of all my weird forms I merge into, and basically the mental hospital part where I'm like trying to groom people that are stuck in the infinite doors glitch of sadness and trying to make them be nice people that aren't abusive rapists. Or also just make them try to leave the Purist world and join the conscious world denial, which doesn't work. They like the Purist world too hard. And they're always complaining about how the microwave and water screeches autistically, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I only meant to create a universe enough to where there's water and heat. You have to do that yourself, because you're the ancestors or whatever. Because literally I just keep telling their ancestors, sometimes it's like not true to them. And I'm like, well, I don't live here. I just came to bring water and heat so I can influence you guys on a moral level. And then we left, back into the conscious world denial permanently, probably. Until a weird schizo dream happens. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. Peace and love. I'll see you next time with whatever video.